Hi everyone, welcome to Becky's Crafts and Goodies. Today we are going to revamp and upcycle this mirror. Now this came from Tracy's Emporium. I have linked Tracy's page previously, but what I will do is put the details and details of Tracy's shop and also her Facebook page in the description down below. So if you are local in Northamptonshire, then please do pop along. I picked this up, obviously it's not a regular item she would have in stock, so it just depends on the day what you can find in there. So what I'm going to do to start with is upcycle this project, and that means give it a new lease of life and make it and turn it into something that can be used and kind of a bit more modern. So I'm going to give the Rustoleum chalky finish paint a go on this occasion, and the colour that I'm going to use is China Rose. Now I just picked up this little tub from a recent trip into the range. So all I'm going to do is just start by giving it a coat over the top. Now there's various brushes that you can use. There are chalk paint brushes, you can use normal brushes, just really what you get on with. Now the Americana Decor do a really nice brush. This is the 1-inch angled brush, and I'll try and find these on Amazon and link those for you. So I'm going to use that. I've also got this Annie Sloan brush that I've used before, but you know, you can use any brush. Don't feel that you have to get a fancy one or anything like this. Sometimes the ones with the harder bristles work better. This is just one I bought from the range. So just do, you know, what you feel works well for you. So what I'm going to do to start with is to go over the piece with this paint. And as you can see, it's got a really nice pinky tone. It's like a cheap kind of blush pink. And I was a bit concerned that I wouldn't have enough to go over the whole piece, but I do think that it's going to be absolutely fine. Now, as I'm using this brush, it's not going on properly, so I am going to change to this one. And you do find that when you're painting darker wood, it may need another, you know, a coat or two. Now, preparation wise, all I've done is washed the piece, so just to make sure there's no grease, and that's all I've done. Right, so while that's drying, that's had one coat. The weather is very hot and it is drying before you get much of a chance to do anything with it, so I'm not sure if that's kind of hindering it a little bit. But I am going to paint this mirror as well, so we've got plenty in here, so I'm going to paint this mirror. So I've given it a couple of layers of paint and they've both dried. Now I'm not quite happy with the finish. I don't think it's as good as what I would like. Maybe if we put a primer on, that might have helped, I'm not sure, but I'm not as impressed with the paint. I did actually have to sand in between coats as well. Now what I'm going to do is do a light sanding over the top, because you can see quite a lot of the brush marks, and I don't always really like that effect. So I'm just going to go over, sand the whole piece down, and then once it's kind of a bit smoother, what I'll be doing is just taking the sandpaper and rubbing it in kind of certain areas and bringing out some of the wood colour underneath. So I don't know if you can see there, the wood part under there. So I'm just going to do that now. It looks like it's starting to rain, so I'm probably going to move inside now. I just want to show you where I've got to now. So I've lightly sanded the parts where you can see the brush marks. And just a little tip, if you have missed, like you've not got total coverage on certain parts, you can just kind of lightly sand that more just to bring out the colour underneath, so it looks sort of like it's distressed. So down here I kind of missed a little bit, so what I did, got the sandpaper and just rubbed it more just to bring out the detail underneath. So that's where we've got to so far. I think I might just distress it a little bit more, and literally distressing is just rubbing it with the sandpaper in certain areas, picking little bits and pieces and kind of bringing the colour out underneath. So I might just do that a little bit more, and then we'll do the next step. Okay, so I'm just going to brush this down outside with just an old paintbrush, just to get all these little bits and pieces off. Incidentally, I also painted this mirror. Now, this was so cheap. I think it was about £5 or something like that. I haven't bothered taping off the edge because literally I'm just going to scrape it off because it just comes off with your finger. So sometimes when you tape them up, you get it all on there and you have to clean it off anyway. So I'm just not going to bother. I'll just scrape that off. I'm going to do exactly the same thing with the mirror. Sand it down lightly and then just distress in certain areas as well. So both mirrors will look, have the same effect. Right, what I'm going to do now is to put some detail on top of the piece here. And what I'm going to do is decoupage a piece of napkin onto the top. So I've got a decoupage tutorial. There's loads of videos, playlists. I'm going to link them in the description down below. You can buy napkins. It's any napkin. It's not a special napkin. Any napkins that you think will work. These more than likely came from eBay. I buy lots from there. Just type in decoupage napkin or napkins. What you need to do is to get a small paintbrush, a really thin paintbrush, and go around the edge of your design with the paintbrush. I know lots of you have seen me do this before, and this helps you to get a nice jagged edge, because when it's jagged it blends in really, really well. Once you've gone round it and it's wet, you just use your fingers just to pull it apart, and that gives you that kind of nice frayed kind of edge. So go around the whole piece, staying as close as you can but not too close. You don't want like loads of the napkin left on. Let me just move this to one side. I've done two, and this one I've separated so it's just the top layer of the napkin. So all I do is just lick my fingers and use my thumb and my finger just to separate them. And all you want is the top part, because that's got the pattern on. You don't want the other extra bits, and that makes it super thin. What I'm going to use is some Mod Podge and some cling film. So get yourself some cling film ready. Once you've worked out where you want them, I've got a little bit in the lid here. You need to put your Mod Podge. Mod Podge is a sealer, so it's a glue and it's a finish as well. So put some of that on. Put your napkin over the top. Don't go back on with the brush. Go over it with the napkin, and that makes it easier to touch. Otherwise, you're probably going to rip the napkin if you go in too heavy with glue or a brush. I'm just going to use that to push it down, and if there are any bits of glue that you've missed, you can kind of, on the edge there, just do a little bit more, and that will dry absolutely beautiful. And I don't know if you can see the effect on there. I really, really, really love that. And what I'm going to do now is, with the mirror that I picked up, that I'm doing it in sort of the same kind of look, I'm going to put one of these on the top corner of the mirror as well, just so it all ties in. So we'll just do exactly the same thing. We've got another flower bit of napkin there, and I'm going to put this on the top. In this top corner, I think would look quite nice. So I mean, these might be bought together. The same person might want both, but they don't, they'd look lovely in any kind of room really. So that's going over the top, and I'm just going to put this over. I know it's sort of crinkly, but we can work with that. I'm going to get myself some more of the cling film, because I don't want to handle the napkin because it will rip. And then use that to press it down, press it all in the little crevices and the creases that the mirror naturally has. And if it is a little bit wrinkled, I personally don't think that matters too much, because I think it adds to the effect. I'm really loving how these are turning out. I think they look absolutely beautiful. And I am going to seal them. I'm going to use the lacquer, the Rustoleum lacquer over the top. And then that will make them a little bit more robust. With this paint, I felt that you did have to sand it to get a decent finish, and it is quite chalky, quite powdery once you start kind of sanding it down. So if you're looking for kind of this sort of distressed look, it is okay, and it does work quite well. So that's that for now. What I'm going to do is let both of these pieces dry. I'll show you a bit closer up there. I'm going to let both of them dry, and then we'll seal it over the top of that. Now we've started to seal the piece, and this is the lacquer that I'm using. It goes with the paint that we've used, and I'm just going over it with a brush. You might find that where you've put your Mod Podge, it covers a bit lighter, but we'll see how it dries. So it should be absolutely fine. So all I'm going to do is seal both of them with the lacquer, and this will protect them, make the paint a bit harder because the paint is quite soft, and it has been dried for a few days and the paint does still feel quite soft, so I would definitely recommend sealing them. Be careful not to put too much lacquer on your brush because you want to try and avoid drips, but it does seem to go on quite easily, so the lacquer is working okay. And now we're just going to do the same with the other mirror. And here we go. So they're completely finished, and I love them both. I think they look so, so beautiful. And if you are local, then you can pop into Tracy's Emporium, because that's where I actually purchased this item from here. But there's so many different charity shops, second-hand shops, thrift stores that you can buy things like this from so cheaply and do it up. But I've really enjoyed doing this video. I hope you've enjoyed watching it, and I love the outcome. And if you want to see more, then please do subscribe, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.